The Algonquin term Hammonasset means where we dig holes, describing the act of planting the three sisters, beans, squash, and corn. I planted myself for a couple of days at the campground along the southern coast of Connecticut, plus visited the PEZ Museum and the Nature Center within the park in this episode of Camping with the Yankee Camper, Hammonasset Beach State Park.
Stretching along the shoreline of Long Island Sound is Connecticut's largest state park. It boasts over 550 campsites on around 1,000 acres. The sites can handle anything from tents up to a 35-foot RV. Each site has a picnic table, but there's no fire pits. Campfires are allowed, however, so long as they're in a receptacle that's contained and elevated. Ground-based fires are strictly prohibited. You can rent fire pits from the camp store. I'll cover that in the amenities segment of the video. I brought a small charcoal grill and used that. It's important to note that pets are not allowed in the campground and must remain on the trails if walking through the park. Here's a little bit of history. In 1641, following the defeat of the Pequot Nation by the powerful Mohegan sachem Uncas, he was given the area where the state park is located when he married Sebequanish of the Hammonassets and absorbed these people into the Mohegans. Having allied with the colonists during the Pequot War that ended in 1638, Uncas began selling off the land to the English settlers, who used it to farm salt marsh hay and gather seaweed. In the late 1820s, a farm was established at the location of the present Meigs Point Nature Center, which I'll cover in a later segment as well. For nearly 80 years, the site was farmed until Winchester Repeating Arms Company bought it as a testing site for their new rifle to be sold to the Navy and Marines. Following World War I, the state purchased the land from Winchester and other owners, including Clarkson Meigs, whose family had owned land in the area since the late 1600s. The park officially opened in 1920 and continued to acquire land through the 30s, growing to become the largest state park in Connecticut. During World War II, it was closed to the public and used by the military for aviation exercises, as well as an Army reservation. After the war, it was reopened to the public and was soon breaking attendance records for state parks. Basic campsites are $20 per night for Connecticut residents and $30 per for non-residents. They offer 50 water and electric sites, but these fill up quickly. The costs are $35 per night for residents and $45 for non-residents. Also offered are 8 rustic cabins as an alternative to camping, but they require a minimum 7-night stay. Their cost is $70 per night for residents and $80 for out-of-staters. Campsites can be booked as far as 11 months out or as short as the day prior to arrival. Same-day reservations require visiting the campground office. There's a $9 non-refundable fee for booking in advance, whether doing so online or calling. I'll cover the campground's amenities in a moment, but first, let me tell you how I spent one of my mornings.
If I can only have one food for the rest of my life, that's easy. PEZ. Cherry-flavored PEZ. No question about it.
That was from the 1986 movie Stand By Me. I'm not sure I could live on just cherry PEZ, but the whole idea of PEZ dispensers makes me smile. They just add a layer of interaction with my junk food. I don't even own a PEZ dispenser anymore, but they bring back fond memories of my youth struggling to load the plastic cartridge and not drop any of the little sugar blocks, then popping the head back to eat them one after another, well, like candy. When I knew that I was going to be along the southern shore of Connecticut, the PEZ Museum had to be on my list of places to visit. The concept and original collection actually belongs to Sean Peterson, who is listed as the PEZ historian and is affiliated with the PEZ Museum and Visitor Center. The museum opened in 2011 and offers visitors a full-on PEZ experience. As a matter of fact, when you enter, you're greeted by the world's largest PEZ dispenser. Once inside, you'll find the Orange County Chopper's custom-built motorcycle that includes a candy pack gas tank, dispenser holders on both sides of the seat, a large Darth Vader dispenser as the oil tank, and candy tablet rear-view mirrors. The most amazing thing about the museum, however, is the incredible number of PEZ dispensers on display in cases on both floors. In addition to the over 1,500 little candy poppers, the company's history is along one of the walls. Originally founded in 1927 Austria, the company started producing round peppermint candies to be sold in tins. The name is a shortening of the Austrian-German word for the mint, Pfefferminz, using the P at the beginning, the E in the center, and the Z or Z at the end. By 1935, the candy had changed to the familiar block shape, and a dispenser was developed to offer them one at a time. By 1952, the company was making inroads into America with an office in New York City, but sales were sluggish. The strong mints were unappealing to children, so the marketing group developed fruit flavors and created a full-bodied dispenser of Santa and a robot in 1955. They also introduced a space gun dispenser as well, and added the heads of witches to the dispensers for Halloween, 1956. By 1960, Popeye had been added to the lineup as well. During that decade, the manufacturing of dispensers had begun to skyrocket, including the introduction of two of the rarest and most sought-after political PEZ dispensers from 1960. The company made a decision to move their American operations to Orange, Connecticut in 1972, and manufacturing can be viewed through windows at the museum. You'll also find some rare PEZ vending machines, for display only, and an array of dispensers that would be banned today. There's cars of all types, trucks with numerous company logos, including one that is a favorite, sports dispensers, including several that honor the New England home team, a variety of collections, including Star Trek, as well as very shiny Star Wars, in addition to the basic characters. Traditional Christmas dispensers, such as Santa, reindeer, elves, and snowmen, are on display, as well as Easter lambs through the years. Cartoon icons, such as the Flintstones, Looney Tunes, and The Simpsons, along with some that you may have forgotten about, or never even heard of. There's an MTV Awards dispenser, oversized dispenser displays, and short dispensers popular in other countries. You'll see some advertisements through the years, and an American flag made entirely out of PEZ wrappers. As a matter of fact, you can even get a card and go on a scavenger hunt to find unusual items around the museum, which will earn you a prize if you complete it. The museum won't take more than an hour or so, and costs just $5 for adults and $4 for children 12 and under, or those kids over 60. You even get a souvenir lanyard plus $2 off your purchase from the gift shop. It's a great take to step back in time and walk out with some current trends on the plastic cartridge with the flip-back head that will offer a small block of sugared memory. Now, you know. Speaking of memories, let me get back to the campground amenities before I forget.
I don't have any endorsements for making these videos, but there is a cost associated with things like campsite fees and supplies. This channel runs on coffee. If you enjoy the work that I do in creating these videos and would like to help out with expenses, please consider buying me a cup of coffee. It doesn't need to be much, just a couple of dollars. I'll put a link in the description. Now, let's get back to the video.
Restrooms are scattered throughout the campground within walking distance of the sites, the ones on the west side being made out of block and on the east side being made out of wood. Each of these combines both shower and toilet facilities. The bathroom facility closest to me had 4 sinks, as did the wooden ones on the east side. However, some of the east side sinks only had a single faucet, not a hot and cold. Each of the facilities had 2 stalls and 2 urinals. I don't know what the women's room had, but I'm assuming it had at least 3 stalls. The shower area was separated by a door, and there were 2 individual showers within the area. Although not particularly inviting, I wore flip-flops and was able to take a shower every day that I was there. They operate with a single push button, and the water came out for about a minute or so before having to repress the button. In the back part of the building was a separate handicap access facility. This included a handicap shower as well as a handicap-enabled toilet and sink. On the other side of the jut-out is where the dishwashing sink is. Here there is a deep and shallow sink, each with hot and cold running water. And despite the fact that the sign said no food, someone managed to clog up the shallow sink. Spigots located throughout the campground provide fresh water for those campers. Centrally located within the campground is the campers' activity area, designed for both adults and children. There's a bicycle rack for those who ride to the recreation center, installed near the road to keep the area clean and organized from scattered bicycles. The children's portion starts with a set of swings, including a smaller swing for toddlers. The young people's equipment has several slides and multiple opportunities for the children to climb. There's stairs leading up to the main section and dual slides for coming back down to assure minimal waiting. Across the street is a small sandbox for those youngsters who didn't get enough playing in the sand at the beach. For adults, there are several built-in workstations to provide the opportunity for those wishing to exercise their muscles with such equipment for working out. Group activities are available for campers, such as a volleyball net. In the evenings, the Rangers show family-oriented movies at the large amphitheater located in the northwest corner of the campground. The camp store is located by the beach and carries a number of snacks, drinks, and necessities, including firewood in the aforementioned fire pits, as well as ice for coolers. For campers with RVs needing to make use of a dump station, there was 5 separate lanes available. 4 of them were side by side with all of the appropriate freshwater and non-potable water spigots, as well as necessary tanks. The 5th was located just as you exit the campground. Dumpsters are scattered throughout the area, but removed from most of the campsites to keep the creatures from wandering. Recycling is encouraged, and there's a posting of what's appropriate and what's not.
If you bypass the campground entrance and continue past the pavilion, you'll come to a large parking area with a building poised on a hill. This is the Meigs Point Nature Center. Inside, you'll be greeted by, in addition to the very helpful staff, 2 cages with live birds. These are monk parakeets and a pair of rescued blue jays. There's also a live feed to a local osprey nest, but the camera was on the fritz when I was there. From the main entrance lobby, the center is broken into 3 major areas: in the water, at the beach, and in the woods. The woods room features some live reptiles around the edge, as well as a large turtle tank in the center. The children that were visiting while I was there were delighted to see the turtles swimming along. Above the terrariums with the reptiles are some taxidermied animals that you could possibly encounter in the Connecticut woodlands. The sea room also had a large observation tank in the center with some typical underwater creatures, including a very shy lobster. The walls were made up of several fish tanks, although some were being renovated. The ones that did contain fish, however, were very interesting. The At the Beach area also serves as a multimedia room. It had a couple of screens showing what one might see on a beach or in the water, including seals. The static displays included minerals and some of the area's geology, various shells, and bones from sea animals, including a whale vertebrae. The doors leading outside go onto a deck where there are a couple of high-powered binoculars, as well as birdhouses designed to attract purple marlins. The price of admission is included in the park entrance fee, either for the day or while camping. There's also a small gift shop, as well as restrooms in the nature center. Depending on your level of interest, visiting could be anywhere from half an hour to about an hour and a half. This was a pleasant break from the beach scene. Now you know. And speaking of the beach scene, that's what most of the people came to experience. When it comes to the beach, there's basically 2 types of people: those who love the salt air, the waves gently lapping the pebbled sand or crashing onto the jagged rocks, gazing to the distant horizon where the earth and sky merge into a hazy, imperceptible line. And then there's people like me. I don't hate the beach per se, but the annoying people, the sand getting into everything, the screeching seagulls, the difficulty parking, and again, the annoying people, just won't allow me to overcome the reality into a make-pretend bliss. Let's just say my cup of tea is coffee. That doesn't mean I don't get it. The sun, air, breeze all work for some to be their happy place. I headed down to the beach access from the campground around 6 a.m. The beach was virtually deserted, except for a few of the winged scavengers. The sand stretches for almost 2 miles to the southeast, out to Meigs Point. This is the main attraction for the state park, which is why it typically sees over 3 million people per year. That's an impressive number for a state park. I've read that there's pink sand at the end of the beach due to the heavy concentration of garnets in the pebbles, but I saw no evidence of that. I also understand that this is a popular spot for surf casting, but I didn't see anyone out with a rod either. Maybe because it was a Wednesday. I did stop by the handicap-accessible pavilion later in the day. It was quite a contrast from the morning. If the beach is your thing, you're not going to find another state park campground with this much saltwater beach access in southern New England. Note here is also a gateway to a number of trails for hiking and bicycling. I met some wonderful people from Pennsylvania here, and, except for the inconsiderate generator operators, I had a great time camping at Hammonasset State Park. If you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to give it a thumbs up. If you find what I do entertaining, please subscribe. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section. Until next time, get outside, and thank you for watching.